Okay, so everyone, welcome to Kol Shira in partnership with Breslov.org and of course Yeshiva Torah Shimon. All right, so this week is we're going to do our Parsha, weekly Parsha class, and it's Parshat Vayeitzei. It's a very, very exciting Parsha. So many things. I mean, Klal Yisrael is being built really in this Parsha. It's unbelievable. I wanted to share with you a couple of things that's going on here in Eretz Yisrael. So one of the most remarkable things is that we have now chayalim, soldiers, that are really stationed in every one of the yishuvim, right? And the army has figured out to do that because of what happened, we know, on October 7th, right? Where there wasn't a military presence. So anywhere that there are Arab villages close by to a Jewish village, Jewish town, so there are chayalim in each town, right? So what we do is we prepare. My wife does that with her group. It's called the Super Safta Packers, right? And these women are amazing. What they do is they get together daily, and they pack 100 to sometimes even 200 packages for the chayalim. And what we give them is normally we give them a chapstick, because it's getting cold out here. They get a protein bar. They'll get a soup packet, a tea bag, some Mentos, and other nice things. A package of tissues, because it gets cold out there, right? So they get a little package of tissues, and they give them out. And now, so what we do is we speak to all of the different the logistics people from each one of the yishuvim, and then what we do is we deliver to these chayalim these packages, and they are so grateful for it. Yesterday we got a call that they said that there were going to be 400 chayalim coming to Efrat. They had a mission, and they were going to be coming at 10:30 at night, and they want to know if anyone has anything that they can give to the chayalim. So we answered. We packed up. We had the ladies had over 400 packages. So we took the bags with the packages in them, a box and some packages. Within 20 minutes, we were able to deliver it. So it's amazing, mamish amazing. It's mamish an amazing thing, and Baruch Hashem, what a schus that we have to be able to help the chayalim. And we have people, that are contributing from all over the world, because everyone wants to have some, Ishtatfut. They want to be mishtat. They want to be joined and feel part of what's going on, because it's like we say, the chayalim right now, the war that they're fighting, the world thinks that we're fighting a war for Eretz Yisrael, but really they're fighting the world's war. Why? Because these same Hamas guys, they say that they're not interested in just killing Jews. They're interested in killing Christians, Catholics. They love to kill even other Muslims that don't agree with them. They'll kill Hindus and Buddhists and what have you. They couldn't care less. And even I heard that the FBI has put out a warning that the Hamas is going to plan attacks in the United States. Have you heard about that too?
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Did you hear that? Rabbi Yehuda? Did you hear that, Shimon?
In general, nothing specific yet.
But they made such a statement, I heard. I don't know. Okay, listen, Hashem should protect everybody wherever they are. And again, the chayalim, they're just doing an amazing, amazing job. Baruch Hashem. All right, so there's so many things to discuss in the parsha this week, right? This parsha is an amazing parsha where we know this parsha is Vayeitzei, right? What happened last week? In last week's parsha, Rivka Imeinu gave Yaakov Avinu the command that she wants him to go in as Esav and to get the brachas from Yitzchak Avinu, right? And he was a little bit reluctant to do that, right? He was a little reluctant. He said, how my father will certainly know the difference. And then she put him on the garments of Esav, remember, right? She put him on the garments of Esav. And he tried his best. He tried his best to act like Esav, but he was very polite. Yaakov Avinu was an Ishtam, a Yoshev Olam, right? He was a young man that studied Torah. He studied Torah all his life. He was a very refined person. So when he addressed his father, he said, "Please, father." Well, Esav would never say anything like that, right? We learned all these nice things, unbelievable. Anyway, Esav came in after, and he realized that Yaakov had cheated him. He felt he was cheated. He really wasn't cheated because Yaakov Avinu in the beginning of Parshat told us he bought the Bechayra, fair and square. Esav sold it to him. So much so that he was Vayivez as a Bechayra, right? Esav made fun of the Bechayra. He couldn't care less about the Bechayra. He didn't want anything to do with that. All right, so what happened? Esav decided he wants to kill Yaakov. So Yaakov Avinu was told, given was asked by Yitzchak and Rivka to go to Padan Aram, where Rivka came from. That's where she came from, right? We had Besuel. Besuel was Rivka's father. Her brother was Lavan, right? She had a brother Lavan, and she said that go back there and take a wife for yourself over there. So he had a twofold mission. His mission, first of all, the first part of his mission was to save his life, right? To save his life by running away from Esav because Esav wanted to kill him. The second part of his mission was to find a wife and to start his family, right? And we know that he stayed away for 14 years. He didn't go to sleep. Anything he was learning in the yeshiva Shem Ve'ever, right? And then the next thing he knew, he wound up finding the Makom Hamikdash, right? And he took the 12 stones and he put the 12 stones under his head, right? And Rashi tells us that in the middle of the night the stones were arguing, they were quarreling. Why I want the tzaddik's head to lay on me. Why is the tzaddik laying on you? So there was a nace happened that all the stones turned into one stone, right? It says that he put stones down, and in the morning it said he took the stone. What do you mean he took the stone? Right? He took that stone and he anointed it and he made it, because he realized what kind of place he was in. He understood that was going to be the Makom Hamikdash. He understood where he was. He was on Har HaBayis. He understood that. All right. And we know on his journey, Esav had his son Eliphaz. Eliphaz was one of Esav's sons, and Eliphaz was somebody that grew up on the lap of Yitzchak Avinu. Isn't that amazing? Right? This little kid, the son of Esav, right? The Russia Marusha, okay? But his son stayed with grandpa, right? And he stayed and he grew up on the Chekei Shel Yitzchak Avinu. And what happened was Esav commanded his son, told his son, "Listen, I'm not going to go and kill my brother, but you go." He tells his son Eliphaz, "Go kill Yaakov," right? Amazing. So Eliphaz goes, okay, listen, he has to listen to his father, okay, he goes, and he meets up with Yaakov Avinu. And he tells Yaakov Avinu, "Hey, I'm here, I got to kill you." So Yaakov Avinu says to him, I have an idea. And what's his idea? He says, you know that an ani is chashuv kemes. An ani is like a dead man. If a person's a poor person, he doesn't have any money, he doesn't have any belongings, right? So that person, Chazal say, is chashuv kemes. He's like a dead man. Okay. So here, take everything I have. And when you take everything I have, I'll have nothing. And if I have nothing, it's as if you killed me. He says, okay, good. So he takes all of Yaakov Avinu's money. He takes his and whatever he had, he takes everything from him. He leaves him mamish with nothing. Mamish with nothing. Mamish with nothing. Until Yaakov Avinu had no clothes. He had no clothes on his back. So there's an interesting medrash that says, listen to this medrash. There's an interesting medrash that says that Yaakov Avinu didn't know what to do. How is he going to go on? So what did he do? Yaakov Avinu was looking around, and he saw there was a little lake. There was a lake, a little river, something there. And he went by this river, and he was thinking, and he sees there's a man that goes to swim in the lake, maybe bathe, swim, whatever he was going to do. And he drowned. And he drowned. Now he left his clothes on the shore. He left his clothes on the beach, the shore, whatever it was. So Yaakov Avinu said, the guy died. His clothes are hefker. So I'll take them. What was he going to do? Now what happened was the police, at the time, they saw that this guy died. And now Yaakov Avinu was walking around with his clothes. He was afraid that he was going to be framed. He was afraid he was going to be accused of killing this man. So he had to go real quick. He had to leave real quick. And as he was going, he was thinking, the last people that went down, the last person that went down to Paddan Aram, who was that? It was Eliezer, right? The servant of Avram Avinu, right? Eliezer was Avram Avinu's servant, right? And he went down because he made a shvuah to Avram Avinu that he would go down and he would find a wife for Yitzchak, right? Now he finds himself doing the same thing, going down there. But we know when Eliezer came, he came with a lot of camels, and he came with a lot of jewelry, and he came with a lot of gold and silver. He came with a lot of wealth. Yaakov Avinu now has no money, right? Because he met Eliphaz, right? Eliphaz took everything from him. He had nothing. So he didn't know what he was going to do. So you know what Yaakov Avinu did? Shir Amalai says, Yaakov Avinu sang a song. And he looked up to the mountains. Shir Amalai says, he lifted his eyes up to the mountains. And he said, Me'ayin Yavai Ezri, from where is my strength? Ezri means strength, right? But Ezri means also, Chazal tell us, is an Ezer. It says by Adam Arishon and Chava. So Chava was an Ezer Kenegdo, Ezer. So we know that we see from there that a wife can be called an Ezer, right? If you're lucky, the wife is an Ezer, she helps, right? Otherwise, the wife can also be known as a Kenegda, against you, right? So Yaakov Avinu is davening to Hashem, Ezri me'im Hashem, he says. Oh, I'm worried. Why am I worried that I don't have money? Why am I worried because I don't have money, I won't be able to find my wife? No. Hashem, you made the Shemayim and the Aretz, the big mountains. You made everything. And you're my salvation. I find my salvation in you, Hashem. It's nothing. You're going to give me my wife. Doesn't matter. He strengthened himself. We know that really Tehillim, of course, David HaMelech compiled the Tehillim. He wrote most of the Tehillim. But we know that David HaMelech didn't write all of the chapters in Tehillim. Right? For example, that chapter was actually written by Yaakov Avinu. Right? Mizmah Shir L'Yom HaShabbos was written by Adam Arishon. Right? He said that. Mizmah Shir L'Yom HaShabbos. Toiv L'Idus L'Hashem U'Lezam L'Shim Ch'Elyon. That was that. Okay. So now Yaakov Avinu finds his way. He finds his way, and he winds up and he winds up going to Padan Aram, and he winds up seeing Rochel. And when he sees Rochel, the Torah says he gave Rochel a kiss, and they were crying. Why was he crying? Because he saw that he wouldn't be able to be buried with Rochel Imenu. He saw he wouldn't be able to be buried with Rochel Imenu. So they were crying. That's why they were crying. Okay. All right. So then he started out with Lavan, and we know that Lavan said to him, well, you want to marry my wife, you have to work. You have to work for 7 years, right? So he worked and he made the deal, right? He made that deal with Yaakov Avinu, that Yaakov Avinu said to him clearly, I'm going to marry Rochel. I'm going to work and I'm going to marry Rochel. And he said, yes. But really, Lavan was Lavan. He was a con artist. He was a con artist, a trickster. He comes up and he says, well, how can it be that the younger girl, the younger sister will be married before the older sister, right? And how did that work? Because Rochel Imenu was given a sign, a secret that Yaakov Avinu gave to her. Yaakov Avinu gave her a secret. And Yaakov Avinu was, because he knew what kind of person he was dealing with. He knew he was dealing with this Lavan, this con artist. He understood it. So what did Rochel Imenu do? Not to embarrass her sister. She stayed under the bed. She said over the signs. And Yaakov Avinu wound up being with Leah. And he married Leah. But then he worked another 7 years to get Rochel Imenu. So that's what we're going to learn now. A beautiful Kedushas Levi on this. To understand this, I'm telling you, this is the most beautiful understanding that I found. I was looking into many, many different, but this is so amazing. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this. So with Siyata Dishmaya, let's go. Let's learn, okay? Here we go. We'll start off. Vayavai gam el Rochel vayehav gam es Rochel mileah. Interesting word the Torah says. Vayavai gam el Rochel vayehav gam es Rochel mileah. He liked Rochel more than he liked Leah. Right? He was with Rochel, and he liked Rochel more than he liked Leah. Ki ikar eyasai shel Yaakov, right? Bebeis Lavan haya machmas Rochel teyadua. We know that really the reason why Yaakov Avinu stayed in Lavan's house, he didn't stay there to marry Leah. He stayed there, he wanted to marry Rochel. We all know that. V'lechein haya machmas Rochel kayadua. And therefore, he liked Rochel, of course. Eves al yedei Rochel she'avura haya bebeis Lavan, gorem shetia gam Leah liishtay. But by the fact that he was in the house of Lavan, it wound up causing that Leah would be his wife also. Interesting. And then Rochel he goimeres leleah agoiremes leleah gam kein haisa liishtay. So Rochel caused that Leah would be his wife. Uvavosayas Rochel oev oisa ba'atzma. V'oid ahava yisera shehi goiremes loy tzadekes keleah tia gam kein liishtay. And he had a great love for Rochel Imenu, that also he can have a wife like Leah, which is such a great tzedekes. So he was very appreciative to Rochel. He loved Rochel because he wanted Rochel originally. But Rochel, since she gave the signs to Yaakov Avinu, she made it possible that he would be able to also be married to Leah. V'zeu shama vayev gam es Rochel perish. He had a little more love for Rochel than Leah. Perish. Al yedei Leah shoyse ishtay v'Rochel. She goyremes nis vasei Yaakov Avinu oida hava l'Rochel v'oven. So the fact that he loved. Why did he love Rochel more? He loved Rochel more because Rochel gave him the ability to be married to Leah. Leah was a great tzedekis. But there's another understanding. That's beautiful. Look at another one. Oyomer. Vayove gamel Rochel, vayev games Rochel mileah. Yesh ledaktik. Ma gam hasheni. What does it mean also? The second also. Uvezeh yevoy Rashi ala posik vayiskor lekim es Rochel. HaKadosh Baruch Hu remembered Rochel. Zocher la simonim shemasra la'achoisa. HaKadosh Baruch Hu remembered the signs that she gave over to her sister on the wedding night. Mishahoisa mitzera shaloi ta'ala b'goyroloi shel Esav. Right? What was the whole idea? The whole idea was that we know that there were two daughters. There were two daughters born to Lavan. There were two sons born to Rivka. Rivka had two sons. Lavan had two daughters. So what would be the fitting thing? The older son would marry the older daughter. The younger son would marry the younger daughter. So which means that Esav should have married Leah, right? But Leah was very, 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 very distraught over the situation because she didn't want to have to be married to a Rochel like Esav. And that's why she was always crying. She was always crying because, she was always crying because she was always worried that she would have to be married, to Esav. Amazing idea, right? So now Rashi goes on to say, there were two reasons. What's the first reason? We said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu remembered the chesed that Rochel did for Leah. The second one was that she did a mitzvah, that she took Leah out of her misery with the misery that she would have to marry Esav. Excuse me. Okay. Now look what he said. This is fascinating. It's really one reason. Why is it one reason? How is it possible to think that Yaakov Avinu would divorce Rochel because she had no children? Right? We know that Rochel couldn't have children, right? And Rochel was very distraught that she couldn't have children. So really we know if someone's married, they're married for 10 years, right? That's the halacha we have today. After 10 years, if they didn't have children, the husband can divorce the wife, no problem. Because again, the whole purpose of getting married is to have children. But in this case over here, the mitzvah is really on the man. The mitzvah is not on the lady. Of course, the man can't do the mitzvah without the lady. But the mitzvah of Pru Revu is on the man. Now, because Yaakov Avinu was married to Leah, and he was also married to the two shvachos, right? The two maidservants. So it wasn't a problem that he didn't have children. It wasn't a problem that he didn't have children. So it wouldn't be that he would have to divorce Rochel because she didn't have children. He had children. It was no problem. Like we said, right? He had the children from Leah and the Shvachos. So why would you even think that Yaakov would divorce Rochel Ibenu after they didn't have children? Therefore, I'm going to tell you, and the Kedushas Levi does this, he likes to always make things, he likes to join things together and show you they're really the same thing. Look what he says now. He neksib b'medrash al apasik ve'inei Leah rakois Leah Imeinu's eyes were softened, rakos. They were softened. They were because she was always crying. Show you abrios oimrim, shnei banim l'Rivka, ushnei banis l'Lavan. Because why? The word in the street was, oh, Rivka has 2 children, 2 boys. Oh, Lavan has 2 girls. It's very simple, like we said, right? Listen to this is fascinating. At that moment where Rochel gave over those secrets to Leah, she had no idea at that time. She had no idea at that time that Yaakov would also marry her. She had no idea. She had a big gamble. That was a very, very big gamble. No one realizes that. Nobody realizes that Rochel Imeinu had a big gamble. In other words, she was so selfless. She was so selfless. What does it mean she was so selfless? She was so selfless that she didn't care what would be her outcome, so long as she wouldn't embarrass her sister. Fascinating. Did you ever hear something like this?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Is it not amazing? We just take it for granted, and we always take it for granted that okay, so she gave the sign, then Yaakov will marry her also. She didn't know that. She didn't know what he was going to do. That's Aleph. Okay, got that so far? Good. All right. Shirachel Masa Gam Isa. V'Isa Mitzera Shalei Tipol Achsha B'Goyrolei Shaleisa. She had another problem here. But wait a minute now. If I didn't marry, if my sister was destined to marry Esav, but now she wound up marrying Yaakov, and again the premise that there were 2 sons born to Rivka, 2 daughters born to Lavan. So that means if the younger son married the older daughter, the older son will marry the younger daughter. Now the tides turned. The whole time Leah was crying and Leah was so distraught that she would have to marry Esav. But now when she gave over the signs, Rochel found herself in that same predicament. She didn't know if her lot would be that she would have to marry Esav. Fascinating a concept. But look what happens now. Is that Perish Rashi? Zochaloi haschus shemasra leleya simanim. Hashem remembered the schus that she gave over the thing. Nimsa achshav sheYaakov nasa es Leah. V'hi lo yada sheYaakov yisa gam Isa. V'Isa yira shalei tipo v'gover lo shalesav kivan sheYaakov nasa es Leah. Kisha. Right, right, Chas v'Sholem. She didn't want that to be like that. That Yaakov married Leah, and now the lottery will fall upon her that she has to be Goyrol Shel Esav. That was her great tsar. V'Alpo Pichein Masra Simanim Leleah. You see how great it was? Now we could really understand how great it was. I don't know if we ever understood it in that way. In other words, when she gave over those signs, it wasn't a given that she would also marry Yaakov. It wasn't a given. It was she opened herself up now to be vulnerable to possibly have to marry Esav. The very thing that Leah was terrified all her life. She was terrified of that. Rashi, Shemasra Simanim Leah Nimsa, Yisa Yaakov es Leah, Vaisa Mitzera She'achshav Tipa B'Goyrolei She'esav. Now look what he says now. V'zeh Yuvan Mashe Kosav V'Medrash Achakach She'noideh L'Yaakov She'Rochel Masra Simanim Leah Nafel Sinna L'Yaakov Al Rochel. Listen to this. When Yaakov Avinu saw the next morning that he was duped, that he was cheated, that Rochel Imenu broke the vow that they had, and Rochel Imenu gave the signs to Yaakov. Yaakov Avinu was upset at Rochel. Why did you do that? You know I wanted to marry you. You know I worked for 7 years. I worked 7 long years to marry you. I didn't work the 7 years to marry her. I married the 7 years to marry you, and look what you did to me. Amazing. Mamish amazing. Shenoidel Yaakov Sherochel Moshe Siron later. Nafel Sinel Yaakov al Rochel. Shemasra Simonim Leah. V'achar kach. Kishenasa Yaakov is Rochel. But now, look what changed. But now the fact that Yaakov Avinu was able to marry Rochel. So a lot of things changed, right? A lot of things changed. What changed? What changed was that Rochel now would be married to Yaakov. So now she doesn't have to be worried about being married to Leah, to Esav, right? Esav. She doesn't have to worry about that anymore because now Yaakov married her. That was great. That was great. That was mama's great. But now look what happened now. Look what happened when Yaakov married Rochel. So look what it says now, because we want to understand why does it say the gam 2 times? It says gam 2 times, right? It says vayovay gam el Rochel, vayev gam es Rochel mileah. Why 2 times the word gam? Here we go. Gam es Rochel mileah, v'nisvasei fahava mileah, and he had an increased love more than he had for Leah. Wow. Es Rochel v'yoda akavana here. Shemaso siman. V'achak shenasa Yaakov Rochel v'yoda kavanasa l'shem shemayim nisvasev lo yahavi yisev l'Rochel. When Yaakov Avinu found out that really Rochel did that only l'shem shemayim, she did that for heaven's sake. She didn't do that for her own to help herself. She did that only l'shem shemayim. She didn't want to do that, but she did it. She was selfless. She was selfless in order to protect her sister. When Yaakov Avinu realized that, when Yaakov Avinu realized how selfless Rochel Imenu was, so then he had more ahava for her. V'zevayev gamis Rochel mileah. V'nisvasi v'ahava mileah. More love than Leah. Kilayim b'avu Leah. Rotza loy m'shenoyde loy ika kavonis Rochel. L'shem shemayim. V'zeu gamis Rochel mileah. Hamem moira me'adover hazer. Kilayim m'shenoyde loy tzitkas Rochel v'yav yisera v'yasef loy. Look at this. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yaakov Avinu, he realized he loved Rochel Imenu so much because Rochel Imenu was so selfless, and Rochel Imenu gave him the opportunity to be married to Leah as well, not knowing that he was going to marry her. He knew that she didn't know that, and that made it so precious to Yaakov Avinu. Uvezei yivar pasuk. Ma rav tuvcha asher tzafanta lireyacha palta lechoisim bach neged b'nei adam. Beautiful pasuk in Tehillim. How does the pasuk? What does it mean? Ma rav tuvcha asher tzafanta lireyacha. What good do I have hidden for those that fear Hashem? Palta lechoisim bach neged b'nei adam. It's something that's hidden away from man. Man doesn't even understand such a thing. V'yivor al pi ha-mishnah al ti kavodim ha-mishamshim esarav al menas pras. Don't be, the Pirkei Avos says, don't be like the servant that serves his master. Why? Because he wants to get paid. He wants to get his benefit. He wants a benefit. He wants something. Haklalu, Shadim Tzarech La'avay Ha'bayri is Baruch Hu, Loi B'shvil Shum Kabbalah Schar Klal. Really, we serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're supposed to serve Him, not because we're getting any reward. We serve Him because we want to. We want to serve HaKadosh. Like the Mishnah says, you don't serve Hashem because you want to get your reward. So why are we serving Hashem? Because we want to reward? No, we serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu because we want to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'yimsa atzmai hein chelkai b'olam hazeh v'hein chelkai b'olam haba kidei sheyaseh ratzon habayre. And a person gives over his chelik in this world, his chelik in the next world, just so he can serve Hashem Yisbarach. K'may shematzinu b'Rochel, sh'asa sa mitzvah, Rochel Imenu did this. Limsa hasimonim l'Leah, to give over the signs to Leah, Abba pi shal yidei zeh shuv lo yisa oisa. She gave over the signs, even though she didn't know that Yaakov would marry her. Yaakov is sola el goyreloi shel Esav. And Yaakov, wow. V'nimsa chas v'sholem ta'abeit chelka li'olam haba. She would have to give up this world. Could you imagine if Rochel would have to be married to Esav? What that would have been like? She would lose this world. She wouldn't have anything in this world. She would have nothing in the next world. Why? Because being married to the Russia, how good is it going to be for her? But even still, even though she had this worry, look at this amazing understanding that when Rochel Imenu gave over those signs to Yaakov Avinu, she had no idea that she did it with the intentions that even if I have to give up my this world, my next world, it doesn't matter. I'll give everything away to you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I don't care. I want to do the right thing. I want to do the right thing. It's such a beautiful concept, but to understand really the greatness of Rochel Imenu. Rochel Imenu. I enjoy so much. I live only, it's not even a 20-minute ride for me to get to Kever Rochel. It's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I made a wonderful deal with my wife. Every time she wants to go to Talpiot, because all the shopping's in Talpiot, right? Talpiot is 5-6 minutes away from Kever Rochel. So I always tell my wife, we're going to Talpiot. I'll agree to go there. You can spend what you're going to spend, but I get to daven mincha at least. I get to daven mincha at least by Kever Rochel. So Baruch Hashem, it works out very good. Mama Rochel, to understand how great she was, we're learning a little bit how great Mama Rochel really was. Really, she felt that she was going to give up this world and the next world. She didn't know. But look what it says. Now let's just finish with this. We know that the Kadosh Baruch Hu gives the schar toiv. He gives us great reward to those that do His will. What? How can it be that a person's going to do a mitzvah in a means, in a way that he shouldn't get the reward ala mitzvah for the mitzvah? In other words, really, we know I don't want the schar, but I know when I do my mitzvah, I'm getting schar. We know that. I may not be doing it for the schar, but I know in the back of my mind, I do the mitzvah, I'm going to get schar. That's why I'm doing the mitzvah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'toivas Ama Yisrael. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves Klal Yisrael. And what HaKadosh Baruch Hu does for us, what He does for us, b'shah, sha'adam ha'iseh mitzvah. At the time you're doing a mitzvah, look what happens now. Listen to what happens now. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, He does for this. HaKadosh Baruch Hu mishakeach miliboy sheyesh schar ala mitzvah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu helps us. At the time we do a mitzvah, we're not thinking at the time of the mitzvah that I'm going to get the schar. B'chtei sheyatza mitzvah shalaya yedei lekabel pras. Amazing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so good to us that when we're doing the mitzvah, when we do a mitzvah, we're not thinking, I'm doing this mitzvah because I'm going to get schar. I forget about that. I get involved in the mitzvah itself. I'm not thinking about the schar. Schar mitzvah mitzvah. We know Chazal tell us schar mitzvah mitzvah. I do what I wanted to do another mitzvah, right? What good do I have bestowed away for you? Perish zeh. Hu l'rav tuva lehetiv libriyav asher tzafanta l'reyacha. That Kodesh Baruch hides away. Shehish kachta miliba maschar mea mitzvahs. That Kodesh Baruch Hu allows us to forget. When we do the mitzvahs, we forget about the schar. We get so engrossed in the mitzvah, so involved in the mitzvah. That he covers over this thing by people. The person forgets the schar of the mitzvah, the reward for the mitzvah, while he's doing it. That's what it means. It's hidden away. Remes ala kodesh baruch hu mishakeach melev b'nei ha'adam aschar me'amitzvah sohavim. Understand this. It's unbelievable understanding to me. This was so remarkable to understand this concept. What was really Rochel Imeinu doing? What really was Rochel Imeinu doing when Rochel Imeinu made that decision that she was going to give over the signs to Leah in order to protect Leah from being embarrassed, in order to protect that and to protect her a fiasco at that night and that terrible embarrassment. Could you imagine if Yaakov Avinu realized when he was talking to her before they had any relation, before anything that happened, before he consummated the marriage, and he would have realized that he didn't get married to Rochel, he was married to Leah, he would have canceled the whole thing. Rochel Imeinu knew that. And Rochel Imeinu felt the pain of her sister. She felt the pain of her sister so much so that she was even willing to take on that same pain that her sister was going to be pained with. Remarkable. Mamish remarkable. Mamish remarkable. That she was going to take on the same pain. And she had no idea that Yaakov Avinu was going to marry her. That's why it says Vigam twice. Once she took on the thing of Yaakov Avinu. She took on this thing of Leah, the pain of Leah. And the second was she had no idea that Yaakov Avinu would still marry her. She had no idea. And then when she didn't have any children, it says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu remembers what she did. She remembers what she did. Why didn't she? Why did she find herself in this predicament? She found herself in this predicament because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to help her to become the Mama Rochel, and He did, and He did. In the same way, when we do a mitzvah, we don't think about while we're doing the mitzvah the schar that we're going to get, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu does that for us. He does us a favor by that He lets us forget the mitzvah. He lets us forget it. He lets us forget it. It's mamish amazing idea. Let's see, we have a few more minutes, so let's learn something else now. Okay, Chevra, can we do that? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So when Yaakov Avinu was going down, and he was traveling, it says, Vayered Yaakov neder leimar, im yeh kim imadi. He made a statement to Hashem. If Hashem, you'll be with me, v'shemarani baderech, and you'll protect me. You'll watch me on the way, on my travels, on my journey. Hazer. Asher neichi hoilet that I'm traveling on. V'nosan li lechem, and you'll give me food, you'll give me bread, you'll give me food, lechol, to eat. Ubeged lilvoish, and you'll give me garments to wear. V'shafti b'shalom el beis avi, v'yeh el Hashem avaya li le'lekim. Then you will, Hashem will be my God. Interesting statement, right? What is Yaakov Avinu making an ultimatum for Hashem? If He doesn't protect you, if He doesn't give me food, if He doesn't give me clothing, right? If He doesn't give me clothing, right? Yaakov Avinu was worried about the clothes because he was robbed from Eliphaz, right? He was robbed. He said, I need clothes. He needs clothes. He didn't want just the clothes from that dead man, right? That we learned about before, right? He didn't want those clothes, right? So let's understand that. V'yesh l'dayik. Eich asa Yaakov tenai ima yizbarach. How did Yaakov make this condition with Hashem? Im yiyah imai v'shamrei baderech hazeh. If you'll be with me and you watch me, v'yitin loy lechem lechol beged lilbaish v'yosel b'sholem, oz yeh Hashem li lelekim v'lifnei zeh ein Hashem loy lelekim. So are we going to say that before that, Yaakov Avinu wasn't a God-fearing Jew? Yaakov Avinu wasn't a God-fearing person? He didn't fear Hashem? He wasn't close with Hashem? He learned all those years in yeshiva. He stayed there in Shem Ve'ever. What do you think? Yaakov Avinu didn't have Hashem? Look the way we understand it now. As Rabbi Nachman teaches in the first lesson, Likutei Moran, in the first very lesson, he teaches the concept sheyesh seichel b'chol davar. Everything in the world is seichel. Finding the Elokus, finding Hashem in everything in the world. You can find Hashem in everything in the world. Everywhere, anything in the world, you can find HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Find the seichel of Hashem in everything. Shemadreges Yaakov oisel l'stakel tamid al seichel v'achachma Elokus sheyesh b'chol davar. That's what Yaakov Avinu was constantly doing. Yaakov Avinu was working to constantly be on this madrega, to be on this way, that constantly he would be mistakel tamid ala seichel. He would constantly be mistakel on the seichel to find HaKadosh Baruch Hu in everything. Sheyakasher es atzmai tamid bayis baruch. That he would connect himself constantly to Hashem. V'tamid matzah es HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He would always find Hashem wherever he was. V'zeu yi madregas hatzadikim hamuflogim b'madregel yoinem yoy. This is the level of the great tzadikim, the awesome, wonderful, great tzadikim on their high level. Shetamid dovkim b'yizbarach. We're constantly, always connecting to Hashem. Umeir lahem oira yizbarach b'chol asher yifnu. And wherever they turn, because they're looking for Hashem, Hashem shows himself, he reveals himself wherever they turn. Kihem kol kach devukim b'yizbarach, because they're so connected to Hashem. Ad she'enim yicholim lahafred mimenu, they can't separate themselves from Hashem. K'may she'kasav v'oira tzadikim kar noiga haylech v'or ad nechoin hayoim. Right? Hashkochas yizbarach. Who yizbarach shoymer oisay baderach shu haylech ba v'nasen li lechem lechel beged levash v'HaKadosh Baruch Hu nasen li lechem lechel beged levash ein chaser li shum davar. He won't be lacking anything, because again, anytime you're looking for Hashem in everything, you'll always find Hashem. You always see Hashem in every circumstance in your life, every happenstance, anything that happens in your life, you find Hashem, you'll never be lacking anything. If we can train ourselves, to think of Hashem, you'll never be lacking anything in your life. You'll never be lacking anything. We have to be very strong in this. Always to find Hashem in everything. To find the Rabbi Yisrael b'chol darkei, in any way you can. Wherever you go, always see where Hashem is. What's the seichel in this thing? What's the seichel in that? Where do I see Hashem in this situation? Until you can return b'shalom. El beis avi shebashamayim. Until we return on Hashem's back. Until we return on Hashem's back to Hashem. Until we come to that day that the neshama leaves the body. If the person was so strong, shetamid matchilai Ad soifai, mitchilosai, from the very beginning. Ad soifai, till the end. Rak David by Yisbarach, if he was always connected to Hashem, as I yiske v'yia Hashem li leilakim, shetamid yargosh es HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'ashkachosa Yisbarach, shezeh soid shem avaya. To constantly recognize the hashkacha of Hashem in our lives. To recognize HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in every aspect of our life. It's such a beautiful concept, right? To find Hashem in everything, mamish, in everything. It's never blame anything on people. Anything that happens, I know it happened because Hashem wanted it to happen. It didn't happen because people wanted it to happen. It happened because Hashem wanted it to happen. When I can recognize that Hashem wants things to happen, everything with me in my life, and I'm always searching for HaKadosh Baruch Hu in my life, I won the lottery. That's the lottery, to want to win. You want to win that lottery, to find the Rebbeinu Shalom everything. Shetamid yargish is HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'ashkechosa Yisbarach. That you always feel Hashem with you. And that you feel Hashem's hashkacha watching over you. Shezoid soid shem havaya. That's the secret to the shem havaya, yud kei vav kei. Tia mekusheres, u'mechuberes, u'meyachdas lelekim. You're constantly bound, and you're connected, and you're one with Hashem. Shezeh hateva. Sheyargish gam hateva. That's what it means, lelekim, is the gematria of teva, right? Why is that the gematria of teva? Sheyargish gam hateva. That I'll even be able to recognize Hashem within the teva, within nature. Hu gam kein hashkachosei aprotis. Is HaKadosh Baruch Hu's hashkacha protis mamish. How HaKadosh Baruch Hu is watching over every little nuance of every nuance of everything in the world. The kach tzarech kol bar Yisrael lisnai. And that's how every person has to conduct our lives. This is what we should be zeicha to find Hashem everywhere in our life. Everything. When we deal with our family, when we deal in business with our clients, when we deal with our partners, when we're dealing with friends, when we're dealing with other acquaintances, whatever the case is, find Hashem in the situation. Find Hashem. Always know Hashem is always with you. Hashem is the one setting you up with that thing. Hashem is setting you up. We know that really, we have the concept of bechira in the world, right? Bechira, right? Free choice, right? But the question is, do we really have free choice? Do we have free choice to know where we're going to be born? I didn't have free choice to that. Did you? Did you have free choice to know which family you were going to be born to? No, I don't think so. I didn't have that, right? And did you have free choice to pick the children that you were going to have? No, we didn't. I didn't. They didn't give me that choice, right? I didn't get that choice. So what is our bechira? Our bechira is how we deal with what Hashem gives us, right? How I deal with Hashem. With the deck that Hashem gave me, with the deck I find myself in, how I deal with it. Do I recognize Hashem in the situation? Do I turn to Hashem and I say, Hashem, I know you're here. Hashem, reveal yourself to me in this situation. I know you're here. I believe you're here. Because I know that no matter wherever it goes, Shavisi Hashem L'negdi Summit. Wherever I go, Hashem, you're there. I know that. I believe that. That's the first thing in Shulchan Aruch. Hashem, reveal yourself to me. Hashem, reveal yourself to me. Teach me what you want me to do. Let me do the right thing. Let me be zeicha to do the right thing. To see HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ugam came by Hashkachosei Aprotis. Hashem is there, Mamish, Hashkacha Protis. Each and every little nuance. Hashem is controlling, is doing. But how am I going to react to those things? How do I react to it? That's my free choice. My free choice is how do I react to what Hashem gave to me? Do I get angry at Hashem? or do I accept that Hashem is the Melech Malchei Amlochim, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives me exactly what I need in order for me to fulfill my tafkid, for my obligation in this world. V'kach tzarech kol ba'al Yisrael lisnai. V'oz kol chayav yu chayim ruchniim. And if you could do this, your entire life will be a spiritual life. You live a spiritual life. Of course, if you find Hashem in everything, and you're always thinking of Hashem, and you're always talking about Hashem, of course you'll have a ruchniistic life. Of course you'll have a spiritual life. No matter what happens, whatever you find yourself in, but you realize Hashem, kol ma da'ovid rachman l'tav ovid. Right? Whatever you do for me, Hashem, you're doing for my ultimate good. Hashem, reveal yourself. Show me that it's your ultimate good. That's what I'd like you to show me. I'd like you to show me that it's your ultimate good. And I give us all a bracha that we should always be able to find HaKadosh Baruch Hu in our lives and realize how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always there, even though sometimes it seems like He's not. But then ask Hashem, Hashem, reveal yourself to me. Hashem, I know you're here. Hashem, reveal yourself to me. We should always be zeicha to find HaKadosh Baruch Hu in our lives. And we all daven for those captives that are with those excuses for human beings. They're monsters. I don't know what you want to call them. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what they go through. I can't even imagine. I try to imagine it, but I can't. I cannot imagine what those people are going through. Those poor souls that are going through right now. And the Kodesh Baruch Hu should give our Chayalim, these wonderful, brave soldiers that we have. They're the bravest people in the world. They're the biggest maminim in the world. Should give them the siyata d'shmaya to find our captives before we have to release any of these terrorists from the jail. Chas v'shalom, so they'll go out and kill other people. Chas v'shalom. It's such a pachad mamish that they're talking about. They want to release terrorists. They want to release people that were convicted of terrorists, of terror. They want to release them. Amazing. Hashem should protect us and protect all of Klal Yisrael wherever they are, and we should see Emetz Hashem, the coming of Mashiach, B'bias Koyal Tzedek, and the Binyan Bayis Shlishi on Har HaBayis, on the Temple Mount, instead of that stupid building that's standing there. Everyone should have a beautiful Shabbos, and as we say over here, we should all hear Besorot Tovot. We should all hear good tidings. We should all hear good tidings. Have a good Shabbos. A shkoyach to you, Ernie. It's always good to see you. It's so good to you, Shimon and Yehud and everyone else that's listening. Shkoyach to everybody. Kol